congratulations on this film. I think it's a tribute to identity, to keep going, to friendship. Could you comment on those aspects of the movie, please?
Identity. Yeah. What do you mean by identity?
Well, there's this guy who is isolated from life for what he lives in a home, and now he's coming out of this situation for certain reasons, and then he rediscovers who he is in a way, I think.
Yeah. In a way, like that was sort of like I put myself into the script in a way, because like I've done like 4 other features, but I haven't done one in a while. So I almost got to the point where like I was almost like holding back on sort of doing something personal again and sort of like exposing vulnerability. So the story of a man who sort of lost himself and what he loved doing and rediscovered it was sort of like me telling myself that I could do what I love again.
Like filmmaking, you mean?
Yeah, filmmaking.
Or
yeah.
And Udo, how's congratulations on the movie. I enjoyed it a lot, but what was the biggest satisfaction that you got from playing Pat?
Well, for me, it was like after doing Bacurau and The Painted Bird, where I play a very evil guy. When I read the script and I met Todd, he came to visit me, and the script, I like that. I like that person who is, I'm also in an age group like in the movie, and then he goes back and he doesn't want to, and he goes back in the past and he sees that everything has changed. People don't recognize him anymore in Sandusky, and I like the script. That was the first reason why I made that movie. So the script, because I always read the script, and if I like it, then I read it again, and then I meet the director. But I liked the script very, very much, and I knew from the beginning that I'm not going to act. I'm not acting in that film. I'm just being that film, and it's not drama acting, standing by the window and feeding the birds and singing a song. It was reality for me, the movie. And it's like yesterday I saw Frances McDormand in her film. She doesn't act. You
Right.
cannot, certain roles, you cannot act. And I said to Todd when we start shooting, I want to be a day or 2 in the hospital on my own. I want to discover my room. I want to look in every drawer. I want to see the door. I want to see the corridor. I want to see everything. So I didn't have to be surprised. And then I think that is the favorite line of Lars von Trier. He says to the actors, and big actor names, he says, don't act. And they say, well, we're doing nothing. And then they say, what is the shoulder? Don't act. And that's what when I met Todd and when I agreed to do the film, that was my intention. And I saw the film, and when I see my movie, there's always something I don't like. But this film, I did like. So there's yeah.
What's the biggest satisfaction that you get from what you do, from storytelling, through your not acting but assuming different roles?
Well, non-acting is, I must say, is the director. I have a director, especially in this case. I like, first of all, always in the 50 years I'm making movies, I like to work with directors who also the writers. Because if a director gets a script from the studio and he doesn't, the feeling is different. But Todd is from this town where we shoot. He knows everybody. So it was like a different thing. And he did a very good job. I liked job, is a nice word, a job. I liked what came out of it. And The only thing I'm sad is that I haven't seen it on a big screen. So I can imagine how my close-ups now already very impressive. So if I would be on a big screen, my God, people would
Yes.
cry.
Well,
No,
that's
I saw your.
happen.
Sorry, Todd.
That
Please.
will happen. I hope. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Todd, how much is this a tribute to the gay community in small towns in Middle America, which we assume? I live in Los Angeles, and I always relate Middle America with homophobia, but maybe I'm being snobbish.
My hometown, for some reason, has a really strong gay history going back to the 50s, 60s. There's been a gay bar in my hometown as long as I can remember. So it's changing a lot, but it was a really close knit community, like the people, Pat and Eunice, these were based on real people that were, that really built the gay bar in town. And they would have dinner parties and have drag shows in barns out in the country. And it was this whole scene, and that I was trying to pay tribute to what I consider my forefathers and sisters who built the community, and the interesting thing too is that now that it's an amazing thing and a sad thing that community is dissolving, is sort of back into society, because as Eunice says in the film, who needs the fruit and nut company when they can hold hands at Applebee's, So that's not true everywhere, but in my town, it's a lot more accepted. When we first got there to start pre-production, they were starting the 3rd annual Gay Pride parade festival, which to me growing up would have been melted my brain, you know what I mean? So it was, I really wanted to pay my respects to all the people that had the courage to be out in small towns. They changed the world. And also the community is dissolving because as it's become more acceptable to be out, there's less of a need for places like the Fruit and Nut, which is amazing. But on the other hand, there's this loss of this whole community, from Pat's day and even from my day back when I was younger, that's it's fragmented. It's melting back into society. And there's it's amazing, but there's also a loss,
But in a way, it's cool that we don't have to hide. It's
exactly. Yeah.
It would be nice if in the future we won't have to say Black Lives Matters because it's obvious.
Right.
It's true. Could you comment a little on that aspect of being different but being part of mainstream? And
yeah, I mean, let me think about that. I think it's great. I think it's great that we can be everywhere, but I also, there is a loss of a community, or almost a culture that is that's melting away. And so, so that actually is the sad part of it, but overall, it's progress. I think it's a good thing.
I think so too. Udo, I would like to ask you, throughout your career, you have been recognized for many institutions. How satisfying is that? And if you believe in awards and all that, considering that is the Oscar campaign and all these campaigns, and what do you think of that in general?
Well, I wish I have a whole thing there with awards, and I wish I would have gotten them when I was a little bit younger, because when you get it when you're over 65, you think, 70, they think it's time. I'm not living much longer anymore, and they give me an award. So I hope I'm not going to be like Kirk Douglas, that I'm going shaky and say, thank you so much for the Oscar. So I hope I don't have to do that. I have a lot of awards, from Macau to Berlin to Munich. Awards it's nice. It's nice. It's nice when you have coffee in the morning and you look at the direction, that you think, oh, that's very nice. But talking about the movie, for me, it was also important in Sandusky that there were still a few people of Pat friends who are still alive. And so I talked to them, and we had a drink together, and they explained me and I became more Pat every day. I hadn't programmed because I played somebody, uh, you know, Todd explained to me how he was, but then the real friends who were with him all the time, they told me many, many stories, and I became more and more dancing down the main street, going to the thrift stores and all that. So that was very important for me. I had a very good, and every film is different. Internet knows more about me than I do, and they say I made 225 films. I don't count my movies, and I always,
We do.
but I always say to journalists like you, I always say from the 200 movies, the 100 films are bad, 50 films you can have with some red wine, and 50 are good. And I think when an actor can say he made 50 good films, that's a lot.
It's amazing. Is it hard to have that load on your shoulders that comes with fame? Does fame has a dark side, or?
Well, now I'm very nice to people when I wear a mask and they still recognize me. And I know they're really fans. They say, you
Yeah,
are.
but it's all about your eyes, Udo. I mean, that's
I was going to say the eyes are like wow,
give
like
it away.
Well, because my eyes wants to, I'm born after the war in Germany at the end of the war, and I always had my eyes open to see what's going on. So it was a horrible time. Then I went to England to learn English, and then I made my first film. And then I liked it. I liked the attention I got, and I became an actor.
and
And
what? Sorry, Udo, from all your films, well, which ones do you consider a turning point? Or it's hard to.
always the films, of course, Dracula and Frankenstein, because I moved from regular newspapers to Glamour. I was all of a sudden in Vogue and all the magazines. Uh, and then when I made in Paris Story of O, the most erotic French film, which was forbidden even in England, that changed things, and I didn't want to do the film. I went in a nightclub with Polanski, and then somebody said, "If you're doing Story of Oh, we would like to offer you." And I said, "I'm not doing porno anyway." And everybody, when the guy left, said, "Are you crazy? You have to do the movie." I did the movie. But let's talk about our movie now. Uh,
Yes.
it is always I'm always still want to know things like a little boy. And when I read the script and playing this character, an old man who is folding little paper, and which he used actually for the hair dyeing. At the end, you can see what he did with the actress, and it was so many new things for me in that film. Not only because Todd doesn't live here, so he came once at the beginning to visit me, but I can say in general, I had a good time. I had a very good time, very creative, very new, and to be this flamboyant character who goes to his second-hand store, and the woman says, "I have for you the sou," and then I have no money, and then go out with the head and dancing in the streets. No, there's a lot of moments which, when I saw the film, I saw it twice. When I saw the film, unfortunately, as I said, on a little screen, and I just a couple of friends of mine, they saw it, really good friends, and they all said to me, "Udo, we were crying. You made us cry." So that means to make people laugh is easy, but to make people really feel with the character which they see on screen. No, I think it's a good film, and I just hope that it goes on a big screen. That is my only wish. And if not, I will next year at the festival in Palm Springs, all the film Bacurau, The Painted Bird, Swan Song, I will have a festival. And I will have them on a big screen. I guarantee you. That you come from Los Angeles, because next year they're definitely going to be on the big screen. And if not, I have this big garden. I will have an open cinema, and everybody will see it on a big, big screen.